The wind had a name in that country. People called it patience, but it was a lie. It did not come with rage or thunder. It came slowly, lifting dust from 1,000 empty miles and carrying it across the land. For days it turned the sky yellow and weak, until the sun looked sick and tired. When it finally settled, it felt less like weather and more like a siege. The town of Redemption, Nevada, was dying under it. Born from a silver promise that never came true, the town clung to the cracked earth like it had no other choice. Dust covered everything. It filled the ruts of the main street, crept onto the wooden boardwalks, and settled deep into the lungs of the people who stayed. Inside the Silver Queen saloon, the smell of stale whiskey, sweat, and cheap perfume hung heavy in the air. Even there, the dust found a way in, resting on the bar, and the shoulders of the men bent over their drinks. On a small stage in the corner stood a woman named Lena. She was not yet 30, but life had worn her thin. Shadows lived under her cheekbones, and her jaw stayed tight, as if she was always bracing for something. Her dark honey hair was pinned up only to keep it out of her way. She wore a silk dress the color of a fading bruise, frayed at the hem and stained from years of use. It was not fashion, it was a uniform. Her voice was the truest thing about her. It was rough and cracked, shaped by hurt and long nights. She sang of lost men, empty roads, and women left behind. The men in the saloon listened because they knew that ache. They did not see her. They only wanted what she represented. Lena kept her eyes fixed on a mark on the far wall, a trick she learned long ago so she could look without seeing. When the song ended, coins hit the stage. She did not bend to pick them up. She nodded once and stepped behind the curtain as the piano took over. Her work was done for now. Up a narrow staircase was her room. It was small and airless, with a cot, a washstand, and a single chair. Nothing in that room belonged to her. It all belonged to Roy Manson, the owner of the Silver Queen. He had found her years ago sick and starving and called it a rescue. He reminded her often. In his mind, she owed him everything. Lena washed her face and scrubbed until her skin burned. The woman in the cracked mirror looked tired and guarded. She did not cry. She had no tears left, only the quiet will to survive another night. That was when Bo Ransom rode into redemption. He entered the saloon like a man carved from the land itself, not tall but solid, moving with careful control. His face was weathered, his pale blue eyes hollow and distant. He had come to town to sell his dead brother's cattle and leave by morning. He sat in the shadows, bought a bottle of whiskey, and drank to forget. Bo had buried his wife and infant son 4 years earlier. He counted every day since. At their graves he had sworn never to feel again. Love had cost him everything. He would not pay that price twice. When Lena returned to the stage, he did not look at her. Still, her voice reached him. It carried something broken that matched the hollow space inside his chest. He listened, despite himself. Later, trouble came. A drunk man grabbed a young barmaid, and Lena spoke up. Her voice was calm but sharp. The man let go, embarrassed, and Lena walked off the stage. The moment passed for everyone else, not for Bo. Outside in the alley, Bo heard Roy Manson's voice, low and cruel. Then came the sound of a hand striking flesh, a sharp crack. Bo did not think. He turned the corner and saw Manson holding Lena against the wall, his hand raised again. Bo told him to let her go. Manson laughed and called for his enforcer, a large man named Cole. The fight was fast and brutal. Bo was hurt badly, but Cole went down. Manson walked away, furious, promising nothing had changed. Lena helped Bo to his feet. Blood marked his face and hands. She led him into a storage room and cleaned his wounds with whiskey and linen. Her touch was careful, quiet. For the first time, Bo saw her as a person, not a singer. Their hands lingered too long. The silence grew heavy. "You're not like them," she said. Bo pulled his hand away. He warned her not to be sure. Outside, thunder rolled across the land. A storm was coming, and neither of them could escape what had already been set in motion. Bo planned to leave at first light. That had been the truth before Lena stepped into the alley, before blood and thunder and her steady hands on his wounded knuckles. Morning came anyway, slow and gray after the storm. Rain turned the dust to mud and left Redemption looking stripped and tired. Bo sat on the edge of a boarding house cot, bruised and aching, staring at the wall. He should have been riding east. Instead, the image of Lena's face would not leave him. When he stepped outside, he saw her standing alone on the boardwalk, barefoot, bruised. The marks on her face were darker now, no longer hidden. She did not try to cover them. She stared at nothing, arms wrapped tight around herself. He offered coffee, bad coffee. She nodded without looking at him. They walked out of town together, not touching, but aware of each other with every step. At the edge of a dry creek bed she spoke. She told him about a piano once, about white gloves and big windows, about a life that felt like it belonged to someone else. He listened without interrupting. He did not try to fix it, he simply stayed. When they returned to town, eyes followed them, whispers crawled. Bo felt anger rise when men spoke about her like she was still owned. He stopped one look with nothing more than silence and a stare. He tried to leave that day. His horse had thrown a shoe. His wagon axle was cut clean through. Sabotage. Manson's message was clear. Bo was not welcome to go anywhere. That night, Lena sang again. Louder songs. Harder smiles. Bo saw the cracks. He followed her when she fled the saloon and found her drunk in the stable. She kissed him there, desperate and reckless, and when he pulled away, it broke something in her. She ran, leaving him shaking in the dark. He did not sleep. Later that night, Manson sent Cole for her. Bo was waiting. This time he did not fight fair. He broke Cole's leg and took Lena away. They rode into the mountains under moonlight, not looking back. They reached an abandoned cabin before dawn. It was falling apart and full of ghosts. Bo had built it once, with a woman he loved and a child he buried. Lena saw the pain in his eyes and understood he was not saving her. He was running too. Days passed, quiet days. Bo repaired the cabin with a stubborn focus. Lena helped, learning how to carry water, gather wood, and work with hands that had once only known keys and silk. At night, they sat by the fire, close but careful, the want between them heavy and unspoken. One night, under a full moon, Lena went to the stream. She stripped and stepped into the cold water, scars bare, truth unhidden. Bo watched, frozen. When she told him not to look away, something inside him gave way. He joined her, trembling, and kissed her as if he had been starving. What followed was not rough or hurried. It was slow and reverent, filled with care instead of hunger. When she guided his hand to her chest and whispered the words again, he did not pull away. He kissed where her heart beat wild and alive. For a time, they found peace. They worked together. She learned to ride. He learned to laugh again, just a little. She sang while she cooked, her voice softer without the smoke and eyes. At night, they held each other, fighting ghosts in silence. But the world remembered them. Manson spread lies and posted a bounty. 2 men followed the trail. They attacked on a ridge, shooting Bo and sending him crashing to the ground. Lena did not run. She took his rifle and killed one of them to save his life. The other fled. She dragged Bo through snow and hid in a cave while fever nearly took him. She talked all night, pouring her past into the dark to keep him breathing. He lived because she would not let him die. When he woke, they finally spoke the truths they had buried. Her marriage, his loss, the hole in both their lives. They slept wrapped together against the cold. Spring came slowly. Hope followed just as carefully. They planned a garden. They spoke of staying. Then a preacher came, recognized Lena, and rode away with judgment in his eyes. 2 days later, Manson returned with the law. And this time, there would be no running. They came in the late afternoon, riding hard up the narrow trail into the high meadow. Roy Manson rode at the front, clean and confident, his eyes fixed on Lena like she was still his property. Beside him was the sheriff from Redemption, a thin man with a dull badge and no spine. 2 deputies followed, hands loose near their guns. Lena felt the old fear rise, sharp and familiar. Her body remembered how to run. Bo felt it too, the tight pull in his chest, the instinct to fight or flee. He stepped in front of her without thinking, his stance calm but solid, like a post driven deep into the ground. Manson smiled. He spoke softly, almost kindly. He said she was coming back. He said the law was on his side. He said things could be made easier if they cooperated. Bo raised his hand slowly. He said there would be no blood today. He said Lena would stand trial. He said he would ride with them, alone, and face it clean. Manson did not like it, but he saw the sheriff watching and knew he had to agree. The law, even weak law, needed a show. They rode down together. The trial was held in the Silver Queen because it was the largest room in town, the same place where Lena had sung, the same air, thick with judgment and stale drink. She sat alone in the center, eyes lowered, hands folded tight. Bo stood at the back, watched closely, unable to reach her. Manson spoke first. He lied smoothly. He said he saved her. He said she stole from him. Men nodded. They liked simple stories. Others spoke. Men who had watched her night after night. They talked about her smile, her voice, her body. None spoke about her bruises. When it was Lena's turn, the judge looked bored. He asked if she had anything to say before judgment. For a long moment she stayed silent. Then she lifted her head. She gave them her real name. She told them where she came from. She told them about the marriage arranged for her, the cold house, the man who treated her like a thing. She told them how she ran with nothing. She told them how Manson bought her with food and fear. She did not cry. She did not beg. The room changed. A young barmaid stood and spoke. Then another woman. They told what they had seen. They told the truth that had lived quietly seeing daylight for the first time. The judge shifted. The sheriff looked uneasy. The crowd murmured. The verdict came quick after that, not guilty. Lena felt the word like a wave. Free did not feel real. It felt dangerous. Manson left in silence, his face tight with promise. That night, Lena feared something new. She feared being whole. She feared that, without needing rescue, she might be left behind. She asked Bo what he wanted from her now. He did not answer with words. He knelt before her in the stable dirt and kissed the scars on her wrists, slow and certain. He showed her that he loved the woman she was, not the damage that had drawn him in. They returned to the meadow together. Weeks passed. The land softened. Snow pulled back from the trees. They worked and talked and argued and held each other through the nights when memories came hard. Healing was not clean. It was sharp and uneven, but it was shared. Then the fire came. It took their cabin in minutes. Wind carried the flames to a nearby homestead. Lena ran without thinking and pulled a child from the smoke with bare hands and burned lungs. Bo thought he would lose her there too. They lost the cabin. They did not lose the valley. People came, neighbors, even some from Redemption. They brought wood and tools and food. They built together. A stronger cabin rose from the ashes. For the first time, Lena belonged somewhere without being owned. Under the stars one night, she took Bo's hand and placed it on her belly. She told him quietly. He cried like a man who had been hollow too long, not from fear, from hope. When she guided his lips there and whispered the words one last time, it was not about what had been missing anymore. It was about what was growing. In that high, quiet place where the land had tried to break them both, they chose to stay. And